Hi, and welcome to this briefing about monitoring. In the aviation industry, we connect people, and it's our obligation to ensure that they reach their destination safely. Monitoring and error detection in this context is safety critical. Just imagine you drive in your car and somebody sends you a message on your smartphone. Who would not be tempted to have a look at it and eventually even quickly reply? The US National Safety Council states that 1 out of 4 car accidents occur due to texting while driving, leading to nearly 390,000 injuries each year. LOSA studies show that the situation in the cockpit is as well critical, as only 1 out of 4 errors that the flight crew makes is being detected and rectified. Evidence shows that a crew which is effectively monitoring is more likely to detect any threats or errors than a crew that is not effectively monitoring. As such, a positive relationship exists between monitoring and threat and error management performance. If we can improve the monitoring skills of our pilots, we should be able to also improve their threat and error management performance, and as a result, increase safety. It sounds easy to accomplish, but there are some factors that make sometimes monitoring difficult. For example, distraction is one of the major factors that underlies most incidents and accidents. Distraction can be either physical or mental. Physical distractions occur due to interruptions, for example, from cabin crew or ATC, but also due to unexpected occurrences, for example, system malfunctions. Remember the TriStar crash in the Everglades, where 103 people died because a faulty light bulb distracted the flight crew from monitoring. Mental distractions usually accompany boredom and a lower vigilance state. Here, monitoring may still continue. Our reaction time to any sudden occurrence, however, will be longer and more error-prone. Today's modern aircraft are equipped with reliable systems. Therefore, system anomalies are rare. Unfortunately, our human ability of vigilant monitoring, especially for rare events, declines over time. That means that we are inherently poor at monitoring for infrequent and unexpected events. It's like looking without seeing. I remember a day where I accidentally passed by a friend of mine on the streets, and I looked at him, but I didn't really see him until he said hello to me. We frequently face situations in which we have to perform several tasks in a limited amount of time. So we often end up trying to do 2 or even more tasks at once. The problem is that our human brain is not capable of paying attention to multiple tasks. Instead, we switch our attention back and forth among them. But that leaves us vulnerable to lose track of one task while we're engaged in another. Paying attention to 2 tasks at the same time is just like trying to catch 2 basketballs with one hand. There are also some factors that sometimes make monitoring difficult. For example, an insufficient knowledge and mental model of the autoflight system. How can I monitor an autoflight system that I don't really understand? Bearing that in mind, let's now have a look at how we can improve the monitoring skills of our pilots. Know your autoflight system. In order to be able to effectively monitor the aircraft's flight path with the autoflight system engaged, pilots have to be able to predict the aircraft reaction with any autoflight system guidance mode active or armed. Because only then the pilot can compare the expected aircraft reaction with the one that he actually observes. Therefore, our training exercises in the FSTDs should include demanding scenarios in which the flight crew has to manage the flight path by using the automation system. adhere to the standard operating procedures. The Airbus SOPs are designed in a way to facilitate monitoring and workload management. Any observed SOP non-compliances of our pilots should be addressed and taken as a learning opportunity. Furthermore, the FSTD should, whenever possible, be treated like a real aircraft, and any SOP non-compliances should not be accepted simply for expediency. Monitor when it matters. As our human ability of vigilant monitoring declines over time, a pilot cannot effectively monitor the aircraft's flight path throughout the complete flight. Therefore, the pilot should, in turn, take some breaks from monitoring during flight phases of low workload, in order to be able to effectively monitor again when it matters. Therefore, the flight crew should become aware of flight phases in which the workload and therefore the risk of errors typically increases. For example, when the flight crew expects taxiing on a congested apron, but surely during takeoff, approach, and landing. But also whenever the flight crew changes the energy state of the aircraft. We should bring to our trainees' mind that in situations of time pressure or distractions leading to a feeling of stress, they should primarily focus on flying the aircraft. Manage the workload. Some situations of high workload can be avoided, but some don't. Sometimes they just pop up. And if we feel stressed, we should inform the other crew members. Being stressed is not a weakness, it's just human. In fact, verbalizing stress is a sign of leadership because it enables the crew to collectively become aware of high workload situations and initiate corrective actions. They can, for example, delegate tasks. Or they can, if the situation allows, increase the time available by, for example, entering a holding. Or they can reduce and prioritize the tasks by keeping in mind the following order: fly, navigate, communicate. Train the monitoring skills. As monitoring is a skill subject to decay, our training programs conducted in the FSTD should include scenarios to develop, enhance, and preserve the pilot monitoring skills. Those training scenarios should include threats and errors which have the potential to distract the flight crew from monitoring the flight path, and, if not properly managed, may end up in an undesired aircraft state. You can find further guidance and examples for those scenarios in the Airbus Flight Crew Training Standard Manual, FCTS, which is available on the Airbus World, as well as in the ICAO Doc 9995, Manual of Evidence-Based Training, and the IATA Guidance Material and Best Practices, Improving Flight Crew Monitoring. To sum up this briefing, I would like to recall that we humans are biologically not perfectly designed to constantly monitor everything that happens around us. Therefore, we should train our pilots' monitoring skills. And if we succeed, we will naturally improve the threat and error management performance and, as a result, increase safety. And that is the power of monitoring. I hope you enjoyed this briefing, and I'll see you around for the next one.